Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I would like to start by wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. Please leave me comments. I enjoy and I really appreciate the comments, the mindfulness, the kindfulness, the very beautiful comments that you'll always leave behind. I believe I have a family channel that is full of respectful, mindful, professional people. We always have good discussions. We're always mindful to the way we speak about victims' families, which I believe is the most important thing, because we are here to help these families, but we should never forget that nobody is guilty until proven that they're guilty. But it is our job to spread the awareness around and try and seek justice for people who do not have a voice of their own. Moving on from that, this case that I'm going to speak about is honestly, I believe I it's not that I believe, I know I was one of the first people to get this clip like from the news and put it up, and then I noticed people started coming more into this, tuning into this case, because everyone was a bit busy with all the trashing and all the bashing about the case of Michael Monkey Wong from Idaho. You're aware that his mother really got upset. She felt like she got the information from YouTubers before she got it from law and enforcement, which is really unprofessional, really unmindfulness. This causes the family a lot of trauma. As a mental health counselor, I do understand that. And we have to be aware of how we address parents, even if we believe they're guilty, like Donwell's and Somerville's example. Everyone has a different opinion and everyone has a different judgment about cases. But I guess the Wells case is different because we don't see the parents doing any actions or trying to spread awareness for poor, precious Summer Wells. So everyone has an opinion, but we still have to be mindful how we address the parents, because do not forget, every victim has loved ones behind, and we have to be careful, especially in a case like Michael Wong. And it wasn't only one or two people that have been mentioned that have been very unprofessional about Michael's case and baby Quinton and Summer Wells's case, many other cases. There's been a certain group that has been very unprofessional with this case, standing in front of the family's doors, getting arrested and all that. So I don't need to go into details with that. But what I'm trying to say is I hope that they and all of us can learn to experience not to support people who are trashing or bashing the neighbors of the victims that are lost, like baby Quinton's case, or even supporting the grandmother and the mother, the mother has been pointed out to us by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, that she's a suspect. That is Leilani, when baby Quinton's case. So when Cher and when some creators are playing like the good cop and bad cop, that is completely wrong. You never see me conducting an interview with any parents, whether they are guilty or whether they're not. I don't do that because I'm quite mindful, I'm very professional, and I know that is not my job. That is up to law and enforcement in the cases, the ones that are working, not even enforcement that are off duty on YouTube, no. The ones that I consider that we have to follow is like in Idaho, it's Chief Huff, who's in charge of the case. In Orrin and Austin West's case from California, it is Bakersfield and California City law enforcement that are in charge, and the FBI. So we should never step on cases that although we want awareness and although we get frustrated like Summer Wells, that we're not getting answers, and we feel like these parents are just getting away and acting like someone never existed. Still, we have to do it in the right way. We can put our opinions up there, we can make our clips go viral, we can share clips so that more people get on the case so that we can try and fight for justice for Summer Wells, example, and baby Quentin. But we have no right to be stepping over territories that we do not belong in, especially like baby Quentin and Michael Vaughn. I really hope that they find Michael Vaughn. I hope that they find him alive. I hope that the mother, that everyone shows Michael's mother love, support, which she deserves that. She has been fighting for her son since day one. She's been on every YouTube channel. Although she works hard for her family, she's been there answering all the questions so that she gets justice for her son. That is a beautiful, lovely mother. May God bless her. Let's help her. And now coming to this case. What I meant by this case, when everyone was busy, some of the YouTubers were busy on this case of Michael in an unpositive way. I mean, on Sunday, I saw this first and I put it up, but I usually put in the news clip so that people can see it quickly instead of just sitting and talking about it, because it's, for me, I feel it's more important that I get all the research and all the information right before I start talking about the case, because I do not want to be misinformed and I don't want to misinform my audience or my subscribers and my family channel, because that will be such a sad waste to the case. So this is the case of what happened in Idaho. Moscow, Idaho is a little town in Idaho. It has the Idaho University campus there, and it has other colleges and colleges actually and high schools around there. On Sunday at 3 p.m., between 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, there's 6 girls who live together. Basically, one of the witness, that it has to be one of the girls who was living in the house, noticed that one of the roommates was conscious, and she was conscious and she was on the floor. So she decided to call law enforcement. Luckily, she made the right choice. Law enforcement came and they did assessment. They went around the other rooms, and basically what they found is 4 deceased human beings who were in the early 20s. 3 girls and 1 boy. Like I said, there were 6 girls who live in the house. 2 of them luckily haven't been hurt. The other 3 girls and one of the girls' is boyfriend, who came to sleep overnight with his girlfriend, all 4 of them got murdered. It's a homicide. So what happened basically is, at the start they did not know the information properly, so law enforcement, from my opinion, and this is my speculation, I feel like law enforcement did not do a proper job from the start. Because when you have a case of 4 people who've been killed with a sharp or edged weapon, like they said, a knife, you don't call it a crime of passion. That's what they did. They said it's an isolated situation. They told people not to fear, that they have things under control, which is really wrong, because I do understand that law enforcement did not have the proper information to give out to the people. But once you say it's an isolated incident, I do understand that they don't want people to panic and all. But when there is, basically, I'll say it straight out, when there's a serial killer out on the loose, you better warn people. You better let people know, because this is a serious situation. For someone to have come and killed 4 people, that is a serial killer. It's past 1 murder, it's past 2 murders, 3, it's 4 murders in one house at one time. They said that it was a crime of passion, which I never believed. The more things started coming out and the more the media and the press was trying to get law enforcement to tell them more, law enforcement wasn't being available to tell more, because obviously they didn't have much themselves. But many of the students, luckily, who live in the campuses decided to pack and go home. Luckily, the holidays, I guess Thanksgiving is coming around the corner, so many of the children, obviously their parents are wiser than that. They told them to come home. Some parents came and collected their young children in the 20s and in the teens, and some of you could see that all the teens were packing day by day, getting into their cars, going to the train stations, whatever way or means, they all were running home. The next day, I believe on Monday, Tuesday, a viral a twitch went viral where you see this guy with a white hoodie, a black cap, a brown leather jacket, and black pants, very slim guy, white male, standing there and watching two of the girls who got killed, two of the victims. They were best friends, and from I believe year six, or since they were 6 years old. So even one of the girl's sisters spoke about it. She said that she doesn't believe that it's a crime of passion, like law enforcement said. Even one of the only male who died there, I put out here the exclusive interview by his parents, how the mother wanted it to be known that this was no crime of passion, this was no drugs or alcohol overdose or anything like that. She wanted people to know that this was something out of the ordinary, which it is. Trigger warning, you see blood even dripping from one of the rooms, and you can see it dripping down to the walls and to the floor. So this had to be, obviously law enforcement don't want to say it, but things are coming out now. That's why all the students in the campus started running and freaking out. Blood was pouring from everywhere. So this person who's ever done it is not a person who's scared at all. For me, this is personally a serial killer, and if I look at it in the mental health way, this has to be someone with antisocial personality disorders, a psychopath. I'll say that out there, right there. Because a normal person who doesn't have psychopathic tendencies wouldn't have gone and killed four people. Allegedly, the girls and the guy, when they got killed, the house was unlocked downstairs. But then I hear that many people who live in those areas do not usually lock their doors. They feel kind of safe. I really feel sorry for these four victims and their parents. I'm really sending condolences, my prayers to these parents. May God bless them. May God wrap his hands around you all. May God send an army of angels to get you all out of this grief at this such traumatizing time, and especially not knowing what happened to your loved one. Coming back to it, I got really upset when law enforcement are still saying that it's a crime of passion. But luckily, today the autopsies came and it was pointed out that it is homicide. Period. These people were brutally attacked and murdered in their house. So, crime of passion is a very wrong term to use for the law enforcement and to spread that out to the public, because the students who live in the campus will be thinking, okay, this was an isolated incident like the law enforcement has told us, and they would stick around when there's a serial killer or a killer on the loose. This was no crime or passion. The reason I say that is to start with, crime and passion is usually a temporary insanity. That is the right word. It's a temporary insanity. Usually you will see, I'll give you a good example. Just say if a couple are together, and if just say one of the partners walks in and he comes and he sees his wife, or the wife sees the husband or a partner sleeping with another woman, and then they go in a wild rage, get aggressive, and murder one of them, then the attorney, their attorney, the lawyer is going to say that it was a crime of passion, because there is passion to start with. Let's actually divide the words, crime or passion. There was a crime committed, but then it was committed out of passion, out of love. This ain't no love, this ain't no jealousy, this ain't no envy, sorry. This is a stalker on the loose, a serial killer on the loose, and I personally believe, this is my speculation. I know law enforcement are trying to gather the information, but I believe that this person has been in the campus for a while. It could be a student or it could be somebody who lives close by the campus. The reason I say that is because on the 12th of September, there was a guy with flashing a knife around at the students, and where he was dressed in black and with a black cap, and was flashing a knife, and the students told the college or the university, and they put out an alert there for the students to be careful that there is somebody with a knife around the campus. When the chief and the law enforcement was asked in the press conference, they want us, the what's it called? The chief actually said it was an isolated situation, isolated incident, which did not make sense because none of the four people or the six people living in the house, none of them had any enemies or any beef with anyone for someone to come and ruthlessly attack them and kill them. But when the college and the university, the college, I think it's a college, yeah, when the principal was speaking and the council was speaking and all, when they were asked questions, one of the press asked them that question about that incident on the 12th of September with the guy in black flashing a knife around. Immediately, the spokesman for the high school, or not high school, for the college, said that it was an isolated incident. We put out an alert, and law enforcement took care of that. The guy turned himself to law enforcement, and then when law enforcement was asked, at once they ended the interview, the press conference. They said, "That's it, thanks. So today now we will give you all further updates when we know." So they're refusing to answer the question. That is how I know that it could be allegedly, guys. According to me, I've been paying attention from when this case became a breaking news on Sunday afternoon. I always believed when I heard next day about a guy flashing a knife on the 21st, on the 12th of September. I believe that it could be linked since law enforcement are trying to close off the press conference. I am more concerned about if law enforcement had an interview with the guy and let him go and did not press charges, and he came back and did this. I wanted to read to you all uh, a very important thing that was put up by one of the girls. This was, I believe, on Twitter. Yeah, actually, I'll read it for y'all. This is one of the girls of the high college in Idaho that wrote this. She said, one second, guys. She said, "I was in my apartment when I was awakened by a strange noise. Looking back, I think it was my front door handle being rattled. I opened my eyes slightly and could see a shadow looking into my bedroom window. The curtains were slightly apart, but I could make out that the shadow of a man behind them. I was halfway asleep and I wasn't scared at all for some weird reason. So I began getting out of bed to check who it was. That's when the man turned on his flashlight. He shone it directly into my eyes, and that's when I woke up. A fear like nothing else washed over me. The only thing I could think of is if I locked my door. I think he was only standing there with the light for a few seconds when he ran away. I ran and I thank God the door was locked. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I have left Moscow after this experience." So this was before this took place, before the girls got murdered and the young man. I'll read it to you all again. The person said, "I was sleeping in my apartment when I was awakened by a strange noise. Looking back, I think it was my front door handle being rattled. I opened my eyes slightly and could see a shadow looking into my bedroom window. The curtains were slightly apart, but I could make out that the shadow of a man was behind them. I was halfway asleep, and I wasn't scared at all for some reason. So I began getting out of bed to check who it was. That's when the man turned on his flashlight. He shone it directly in my eyes, and that's when I woke up. A fear like nothing else washed over me. The only thing I could think of is if I locked my door. I think he was only standing there with the light for a very few seconds. When he ran away, I ran and I thanked God the door was locked. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I have left Moscow after this experience. Imagine that. So this guy was literally standing outside our apartment, watching through a window. She heard the strange noise and he was touching the handles of her door, front door. When she opened her eyes, a shadow was standing there looking into her bedroom window. The curtains, she said, were slightly apart, but I could make out that the shadow of a man was behind them. I was halfway asleep and I wasn't scared at all for some reason. So I began getting out of bed to check who it was. That's when the man turned on his flashlight. He shone it directly in my eyes, and that's when I woke up. A fear like nothing else washed over me. The only thing I could think of is was my if I locked my door. I think he was only standing there for a few seconds when he ran, and then he ran away. I ran and I thanked God the door was locked. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I have left Moscow after that experience. She could have reported that to the college, she must have, or she must have just gone into anxiety and just ran off, which was the wise thing to do. I would have done that myself. Let me know what you feel like in the comments. But this is something out of the ordinary. And then you had the incident with the guy flashing lights around. They're flashing a knife around in the campus. Many people in the campus saw him. They reported it to the college, and the college put out a the college put out an alert. That is on Twitter and all. If you'll go check this, and it was the students that told about that. The college didn't. They must have told the police, he shish underneath, but the police didn't. Law enforcement in Moscow, Idaho, did not put that up. So the students are now telling us about their experiences too. So coming back to the Twitch video, you see this guy with a white jumper, black cap, brown jacket, black pant. What I noticed, I said that yesterday in my clip, the guy, for some reason, he did not come there to buy food. He came at the same time with the two young blonde girls, and you could see the girls must have had something, maybe had a couple of drinks before that, because you could see they're swerving a bit. Because as a cognitive behavior therapist, I do watch everything like I'm watching it under a microscope. And this case has interested me a lot. So when I was watching it the second time, I noticed that one of the girls, the one with the black coat, like her balance was a bit off. So I'm not saying that they were drunk, but you could see that they must have had a drink. But then the police said themselves that those two girls ended up going to a bar. So they must have been a bar, came out to eat, and they must have gone back to the bar. And another thing, the two girls that you see on the video, it's important to mention they work in a bar too. So they must have been hanging around at the workspace, feeling comfortable since they work there and since everybody knows them. They did not know that it's going to be an unsafe night. So this guy could have actually followed them from the bar. That's what I believe. They must have gone out to grab a bite. He must have followed them. But what is strange is you think at the same time when he's coming in with them, it seems like he knows them, but he doesn't. And then if you keep on observing, that's the first thing I caught, and I was thinking, let's see if he buys food, because this is a food truck outside. So everyone who's usually coming there know each other. He did not come with the girls. He was standing there in a very awkward position, just looking and staring. And he kept on pulling his cap down, putting his hoodie up so that people wouldn't see. You could see that this is a guy who did not want to be seen, but then he's so dumb. The whole place is full of civilians. So he's out there. You can see blur pictures of him, but you can actually see that his focus is on the two young blonde girls. He keeps on looking at them. He's watching all their movements. They don't even notice him. But there was a period of time, if you look to the video properly, I actually rewinded it 10 times and checked. I believe there was a second that the girls caught on to him. They must have got a creepy vibe with him, because you can see them whispering to each other in their ears. Like one is the one with the black coat is whispering to the one in the grey jumper, her friend, the two victims. And you can see while she's talking, she's looking that direction. Like she's trying to say, maybe she was saying he's still following us or whatsoever. The guy doesn't buy any food. Then you see him talking to the big guy, like the guy who has a lot of weight, to put it in a decent way. You can see him talking and he's trying to like make conversation. So at the start I was thinking maybe he's a student, but then he could have just been making conversation or whatsoever. And then later on you see when the two girls go away, he waves his hand like that, like, oh, like they're gone, like he was kind of upset that they left. Keep on watching that clip, you'll notice a lot of behaviors that ain't right. He, although he goes straight, don't let him fool you. I was watching the direction he went. They went to the left. He went straight towards the right side. And if you look at it, because I was checking on it on Google, you can do a U turn and come back from where the girls were. So I believe there's something up with that guy. If there's nothing up with him, then he's just a weirdo. But then that is not even normal behavior. Somebody must have stalked these two girls, or somebody must have stalked the couple. It's one of them, because the couple were in a party at the school campus and the girls were in the bar. They all came home at 1:45, and the murder took place somewhere at night, because the victims who found them, maybe they weren't at home when it happened, or maybe they were sleeping and they didn't hear anything. Maybe I'm just wondering, how can you manage to kill four people at one time? It had to be that he either overdosed them, put something in their drinks, or he must have done it very silently. God forbid. I was actually telling my younger son, my 18-year-old son, he was keeping on passing when I was watching it. So he said me, what are you watching? So I told him that. So he said, I don't want to hear about these stories. So I said, they're around 20s, and what do you think? They're almost your age, because he's 18 and a half. So he said, you know what's the problem, Mom? I think most of these students are watching movies like Scream and watching these kind of movies of college campuses and a serial killer and all. So maybe this is a copycat, or maybe it's just a person who has serious rage and whatever issues. And then you're telling me even maybe it's a stalker. You have to be stalking one of them to have come home and killed all four of them. But then, usually if it's a crime of passion, you would have just killed the person that was not giving you attention or that you want. Or maybe even say the two girls. But for him to have killed all four of them, this is more than that. I think this is a serial killer on the loose. I am usually very mindful, very professional about not saying certain things, but people in Idaho and the students there need to just, if I was them, if I was the parents, ask your children to take a break and run. Don't walk, leg it. That's what they say in the UK, leg it. Leg it as soon as you can, because that is not something, even if you lock your doors and such things, it's not going to help. If somebody's sick and if they're trying to The sad thing is, if he got away with four murders, let's put it this way lightly, what makes us think he won't go on the fifth and the sixth or the seventh? I was thinking about it today when I was watching these prayer circulations and these prayer vigils that they were having. For all you know, he is one of the students, or he's with one of the students. He has a bit blondish hair when he took out the cap once. If it is him, he could just go color his hair in black. He could be one of the students. He can disguise himself, or he could be sitting home and watching and searching for the next victim. I hate to say that. And actually, I was thinking, why didn't they cancel the prayer vigils? But the main one of the Idaho college where it happened, they have postponed the prayer vigil to the 30th. But this is the close by colleges that are still having it. And it could be possible actually that the law enforcement could have told them just have it so that we let us try and see if there's any dodgy people around there, or let us see if the person we are searching for, people we are searching of, could turn up to the prayer vigil. Because people have antisocial personality disorders at times believe, psychopaths believe they can get away with anything. And he's already gotten away with four murders. What he can do is actually go hide himself, huh? And get away with this, and then maybe come in a couple of years and attack someone else. Or he could just have the urge of continue to do it. So this is a very fractured situation. This is a very vulnerable situation. This is a very concerning, a very dangerous situation. I wish that they locked down the campus and the schools. They shouldn't be thinking about the money of the schools or the exams. They should postpone this because we've lost already four students. Four young lives have been taken. We don't want it to be more than that. I think the law enforcement in Idaho needs to be more frank and honest about this. This is not crime of passion. Y'all can go and read what crime of passion means. Crime of passion is usually people who are together, or somebody who's in love with you, and basically they get into a temporary insanity because their feelings and their emotions take over the best of them. You don't see a crime of passion of four people. And the young boy Ethan, he's a triplet. His mother and father's exclusive interview I put down in my channel. You can check it. The mother said, don't let them spread rumors. Don't listen to everything. She said my son and and his partner and the other two girls were bright students. They weren't on drugs. They weren't on anything. And you can actually, what makes it worse is you can see the Twitter video that this guy is stalking them. I don't care what law enforcement are telling the students and like how they're trying to brush it under the table. This is nothing to brush. This is a serious incident. The students should pack, go home, and come back when the suspect is caught. If that was my child, that's what I would have done. If that was myself, that's what I would have done. If I was allowed to be frank, and if a client of mine asks me, by law, I'm not supposed to encourage them or tell them. But if somebody in my family or a friend asks me what should I do, I would say run. Because law enforcement are usually very frank, but this press conference was one of the worst press conferences I've come around. They weren't being honest. They were just trying to hish up everything. And what I found even more frustrating, that I think is a real minus on Moscow police, is immediately when this happened, they shouldn't have called in other law enforcement. They should have called the FBI immediately, because this was a serial killer. Serial killer is when a killing is more than one person. That's what I believe, that this is antisocial personality disorder person. Look at how calculated he was. He didn't leave any traces, and he took the weapon with him. And now law enforcement are searching around for the knife. What makes them think that a stalker would kill people and then just go plant the knife in a dustbin? He ain't going to do that. That's how you know that you're dealing with a very dangerous person. I hope they get the DNA of this person and put him behind bars. I hope we don't have to lose any more lives tragically. I really want to pay condolence and my respect and my prayers for the people who were friends, family, parents of these four beautiful souls. They were young children. I call anyone under 25, they are children. They are kids. They did not need to go through that. You expect a campus to be proper CCTV cameras and surveillance. You don't expect, you think you're in the safest place, but this should be an eye shiner and an eye opener for everyone. Make sure your doors are locked. Even in UK, we may not have guns and all, but there's a lot of knife crime that happens here, and such things can easily happen. Although other people over here are more scared in the UK, to be honest. We have cameras everywhere. So they know the Scotland Yard would catch them in a second. They know that the Metropolitan Police will catch them in a second. So people are more scared over here because they know the consequences. I know there's consequences in the United States, but every state is different. I don't know. I believe this guy was the same guy from the 12th of September. He seems to know the campus a lot better than we believe. And imagine what the girl wrote about sleeping. Let me read it one more time. I was sleeping in my apartment when I was awake by a strange noise. Looking back, I think it was my front door handle being rattled. I opened my eyes slightly and could see a shadow looking into my bedroom window. The curtains were slightly apart, but I could make out that the shadow of a man was behind them. I was halfway asleep and I wasn't scared at all for some reason. So I began getting out of bed to check who it was. That's when the man turned on his flashlight. He shone it directly into my eyes, and when I woke up, a fear like nothing else washed over me. The only thing I could think of is if I locked my front door. I think he was only standing there with the light for a few seconds. When he ran away, I ran and thanked God that the door was locked. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I have left Moscow after this experience. Imagine that. So for him to be flashing his light on the person, this is a person who ain't scared. That should prove a lot. So it looks like he gets a thrill to kill. I hate to say that word, trigger warning, because he's putting the flash on the person's light. That is not a person who's scared. So we are dealing with a very dangerous person out there. Law enforcement, I do understand, don't want to panic the people, but this is the time you should be truthful to the people. They're thinking about the college not to shut it down. They're thinking about business. There's many other things they're thinking about, but this is wrong. This is wrong. They should shut down the campus. They should ask everyone not to isolate themselves to go home. Or they should put them in hotels in a safer position till they find out who it is. They need to get this immediately done. They need to get a suspect. I've been This is my second clip I've been doing, so it's like for 3 hours I haven't checked. In case any news has broken out, I'll check now, and I really hope that they have some kind of updates or a suspect. But I doubt this will be done so easily. So guys, that's all I wanted to say. I don't believe this is my opinion. I don't believe this is a crime of passion. Nice try, Idaho, Moscow, law enforcement. Come out frank, this is no crime of passion. Because according to the parents, the children were well behaved children. People go out, drink, and have a good time at times. There's nothing wrong with that. But that they're trying to act like this was, even if it was like, at the start people thought, oh, maybe it was like one of them went nuts, or God forbid, one of them had a psychosis episode and killed the others and then killed themselves. No, it wasn't that way either. It wasn't a jealous boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend who came around killing these people. This wasn't a crime of passion. This is definitely connected to what this other girl said, that somebody flashed a light and was out in a bedroom window and she heard the noise and all. So something is up with that story. People are sharing their stories now, and the guy flashing a knife in the college yard, in the campus. You see, so this has been going on from September. I wish that they dealt with the situation before these poor four people lost their life. Anyway, guys, stay blessed. If you're in Idaho, stay safe. Go home, students. I would advise you all, please do not think for a second it's an isolated situation. Do not walk alone. Do not stay alone. Lock your doors. Make sure you're always in a group. That's what law and enforcement said, but it doesn't help even if you're with a group of people. These were a group of people who got killed. I'm not scaring anyone, but truth needs to be told. These could have been our children. And for other parents who have children in Moscow campus, tell them to come home. It's holiday season anyway. It's better that your child has a couple of days attendance, like a couple of days lack of attendance, but they will be still alive. And the other good thing is the college has let them go home. They said they're not going to take it out on their attendance. If it was me, I would have gone and got my sons and my daughter. I would have definitely done that, because this is a serious situation. There's a real serial killer. That is a serial killer. The real psychopath. Lose flashing lights, allegedly. Maybe it's a different guy, but what this girl says makes sense, because a guy was flashing knives around in school. So it can't be all a coincidence. Anyway, guys, stay blessed. I'm praying for these four victims and their families. Prayers need to go out for all those students. They will be going through anxiety, trauma, mental illnesses. God forbid. I hope they get help. I hope they get therapy. It seems like the college is really a, a good college that is trying to help the students. But and I'm sure law enforcement are decent, but law enforcement need to be telling the truth. They shouldn't be making any virgil meetings, prayer meetings and all. People need to run. This is not time. It's not the time to walk or look around. This is the time the students should run. Run. Let law enforcement take their chance of staying there and searching for what's going on, because it's their job. Since they believe it's an isolated situation, let them do it. But those students don't need to suffer. We don't need any other victims. Guys, have a lovely week ahead, and have a lovely weekend coming. And I spoke to you about the clip about Shankila Robinson. She's the girl who was beaten to death by 6 of her friends, 3 guys and 3 girls, 3 males and 3 female. They broke her spine, and they beat her to death basically. Please try and get justice for her. Her funeral is on this coming Saturday in North Carolina. This is a very sad case. And I'm just saying trigger warning, because it's gone viral. It's not a case that I would usually put up there, but this is a case that is like awareness case, so that we all be careful who our children, no matter what age they are roaming around with. Because it looks like they set up this girl. And since it happened in Mexico, they look like they planned it, because this girl didn't go to Mexico with them. Her name is Shankila Robinson. If you'll Google it up, the case has gone viral. We need more eyes on this case, more ears, more awareness. Anyway, have a lovely evening, guys. Stay blessed. Please leave in comments, like, share, and subscribe. Have a good evening. Bye.